Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today we're going to take a look at Silver Lake Forest. But before that, this video is brought to you by Andre Yokoma and Donald Smart. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Silver Lake Forest map can be found at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu, and as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Now let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Silver Lake Forest. This map includes many sell points. I would argue against that. There's two. Sawmill, train, railroad silo. Really, it's just the storage bay and the railroad. The sawmill is a production. Wouldn't really classify that as a sell point. But at any rate, there are three big forests: Animal Trader with Vehicle Farm, Old Small Player Farm, and 27 fields from small to big. And I really thought this was predominantly a forestry map, but actually it's a pretty nice, very well running agriculture map with some forestry added in. Now this is fairly small at just under 90 megabytes in size. That's one reason I really thought this was predominantly a forestry map. And while it's in the EU category, this really could be anywhere because there's not a whole lot going on that really gives you those EU vibes, other than maybe kind of the farmhouse and some of the farm buildings kind of being of an EU style. But really, I think it could be just about anywhere. With that, let's go ahead over to the map and take a look at the PDA. We start here at our starting farm, which includes fields 23 and 24. We have a road that runs across the bottom of the map, and this is the only road that's going to have traffic on it. The rest of the map is going to be void of traffic. You can see we do have a viable forest down here at Farmland 30. We have a second forest here at Farmland 29, and then we have a forest up here at Farmland 28. The rest of this map, if we toggle over to our farmland, well, we can buy a huge chunk of this map, Farmland ID 31, for $136,000. It's dirt cheap. And that's pretty much everything other than the forests and the specific fields and the little bit of land that we own at the start. Speaking of the land we own at the start, we start up by owning Farmland ID 24. That is the main starting farm. $32,000 if you should happen to select that you do not want to own the farmland at the start. We also start up by owning field 23, which is going to be $5,000 to buy. In fact, you can see that these fields are all very, very inexpensive. With respect to our forest, well, we can buy Farmland 30 for $12,000, Farmland 29 for $23,000, and Farmland 28 for $21,000. So if you start with $1 million, you can pretty much buy the entire map and still have plenty of money left over to buy good forestry machinery as well. We do have all of our starting crops available to us here on this particular map. And if we take a look at our crop counter, we do have a standard FS25 crop counter available to us. We do not own any animals at the start. We do have contracts available on this particular map, both agriculture and forestry related. With respect to productions, we have just one, and that is the sawmill. We do not own it at the start. And with respect to sell points, pretty much if we scroll through this entire list, you're going to see one of two different sell points pop up. Either Goldcrest Valley, the train sell point, or the storage bay, which is why I really say that this map has two sell points and not the many sell points that the description stated. If we take a look at our starting fleet, if we elect to start in any game mode, owning or not owning the farm, we do start out with this starting machinery. So it doesn't matter how you start, you will have this starting machinery available. We have the AGCO 8810 tractor. We have the Aprila RX 125 motorbike, FarmTech EDK 650 trailer, with a Great Plains solid stand 1500 seater, the John Deere 980 cultivator, our Massey Ferguson MF7S tractor. We have the Massey Ferguson 8570 harvester, harvester header, and header trailer. We do not own any hand tools, and this map does not have any collectibles. With respect to our starting farm here, well, it's pretty basic. We have our field 23 located right here. We have our farmhouse with sleep and wardrobe trigger. Now, our farmhouse cannot be sold. In fact, that is the only thing here on this farm that cannot be sold. Then we've got a storage shed, little storage barn, another barn, and then we have our silo. That's it. That is the starting farm. So we have our dump and fill point there for our silo. Then we have some of our tractors are lined up. Our harvesters hidden behind this barn. And then we have our AGCO set up here ready to start seeding this particular field. Now, if we get a little bit of altitude here, like I mentioned, we have this road that runs across the southern portion of the map, and it is the only road on this map that's going to have traffic. We've got a little bit of a forest over here in the southeast corner. And then we have several fields over here to the east of the river. You can see the forest area here, farmland 29. We have the train track, and then our train silo. Another small forest area here in farmland 28. And then we have a wide openness, if you will, of all the other land that we can purchase. Then on the west side of the river, we do have farmland as well. And of course, once you own all this, you could clear out these trees and put even more fields in or build out a farm. So I wouldn't really call this a hybrid wilderness map, agriculture map, but it's as pretty darn close as you're going to get to be a map that has predefined fields, some sell points, and then a decent amount of area that wouldn't take too much effort to clear these trees away and put in additional fields or additional kind of town area. We will have to make our way across the ferry to go from east to west of the river, and there is basically a single river crossing other than this bridge, which of course you could come out here on the main road, make your way across the bridge, and then up the road this way in order to get everything on that side of the river. So we have our farmhouse here on the west. We have our gas station here on the west, just outside the farmhouse. And then we have our vehicle dealer. And that's pretty much all we have with respect to things on the western side of the map. Let's go ahead and pick up our Kubota here just to see where things are spawning. Right in front of the vehicle shop. And then in behind the vehicle shop, we have our dealer trigger. So pretty good sized area here for vehicles and machinery to spawn. Now, if we make our way across the river, I guess we have 3 river crossings, but one is going to be dedicated to train youth. So be cautious if you go and make use of that one. Up here to the north of the fields, we've got several little houses here, and the map author has kind of placed NPCs at each of these little farms, kind of representing various AI-owned farms. So we have Walter's farm here. We have David's farm. And then we have Ben's farm, for example. Here we have our only production on the map, the sawmill. So we have our wood cell trigger. We have our wood dump point. We have our pallet spawn point. And then we have our interactive point. Well, it's over here. Here's our interactive point. So we have our sawmill. We also, here at the sawmill, are going to have our rent train trigger in order to rent the train and be able to drive it and have it stop here at our silo. So we do have our dump and fill points for the train, and we have our trailer dump and fill points here at our transfer silo. We've got the train coming, so let's just see. Is it using the EU train or the American train? So we are making use of the EU style engine there. Just south of field 11, we have then our other sell point located right here. And then our animal dealer is located right there. So once we have some animal pins, then we could come up here and buy our animals and sell our animals there. And folks, that is Silver Lake Forest in a nutshell. Not a lot going on. And this map runs pretty darn good. So on my test system, which is using AMD integrated graphics, which literally means that anything that has its own discrete graphics card is going to perform better than this. The integrated AMD graphics would render this map out 40 to 50 plus frames a second. So in the 40s and 50s. And if you are familiar with my medium graphic settings for low-end systems like integrated graphics, for example, Windows-based handhelds and things like that, then you'll know that I also suggest turning on FSR3 frame gen, which means that to the eye, you're seeing 80 to 100 frames per second at 40 to 50. It is very smooth gameplay on a handheld gaming PC or even a mini PC with AMD integrated graphics. When I go like this, on that system, it is very smooth, just like it is here in this particular video. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments below with respect to Silver Lake Forest. Is this a style of map that you're into? Is this something you're looking forward to jumping into and getting on with? What do you think of the ability to kind of convert this into a wilderness map by clearing out a lot of these trees, and the fact that the farmland on this map is so darn cheap that it really wouldn't take too much to buy the entire map and have your way with the entire map? Until next time, happy farming.